Hello, David.
Hey, how you doing?
It's Tuesday. We're back.
It is.
Goodness
We're back.
me.
We're on.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Actually, I'm very, very well. It's no coincidence that the week that we have our special guest on that we have this week, it all works fine. That is no coincidence. He has been such a help during this series, certainly the latter half. So yeah, good stuff. Nice to be here. You know, this is the time that we would normally go, oh, you want to join us next week? Because if you think this week's good, you should join us next week. But what is next week? Oh, it's end of part one. This is the final show of series one, for very good reason. David, do you want to outline why we thought we would end with Shawn?
Yeah, actually, yes, this is something we discussed. We started off what's what with one of our oldest friends collectively between Eric and I, Tiggs Rice, who we've got on with her for ages, and we thought it would be nice to end season one with who we already consider our new friend. So we thought we'd start with an old friend and end with a new one.
It's kind of
because
worked,
he's been absolutely superb, and I'm not just saying this. The amount of help and generosity that that this guest, who I love that we're still pretending that it's a big reveal when we've announced it, and we're still holding on to that kayfabe right up to the last second. But no, he's been absolutely wonderful. I've not encountered somebody so generous in quite some time, and he's absolutely superb. And we. I joked last week when we were doing technical support. There was a moment where you officially became friends because you were teasing.
Yes, yeah, I did.
And I think, oh, it just happened.
The worse I treat somebody, the more I regard them as my friend. So we're practically married, David. The way that I talk to you.
Yeah, it feels like it.
I must really like you. Lovely to see so many people already in the chat room. Welcome along. Hello, Oliver, Uma, Angus. Those are the ones I can see on screen at the moment. Thank you to all of you for being here. It's lovely. So this is the last one for a while at least. We're not sure when, but something else is happening. I'll just push David out of the way for this bit, because my focus is not going away from online stuff. Quite the opposite. It's being refocused elsewhere. Obviously, David has all his stuff that is always up and running, and his clothing and posters and whatever else. But there we go. Even that. Look at that. Lovely. But for myself, focusing again back into TipSquirrel.com. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, David. Have I mentioned TipSquirrel.com?
Is this a new website? Or
so TipSquirrel.com is relaunching. So it was doing really well. We took a bit of a break, quite a long break, if I'm honest, a few years. But we are assembling nuts even as we speak. So some of the original nuts, some of the new nuts, and I will be revealing my nuts very, very soon. So the TipSquirrel nuts coming back together to bring more goodies. And something quite strange has happened in that we went from the tagline was nuts about Photoshop. We then sort of opened it up and it's nuts about Adobe. So we're using all the Adobe suite. And now with the relaunch, it's going to be nuts about creating. So, you know, if you are a creative of any kind, come find us on TipSquirrel, because we're probably going to have something for you. And of course, you can request stuff as well.
Yeah.
So Oliver asked me not to reveal my nuts. I will reveal my nuts, whether you like it or not, Oliver. The TipSquirrel nuts. You know what? I just, you know, there's those little jokes. We have our own at the end of the show. But
we do.
There's those little jokes, and you know, these are good. I love hazelnuts, says Evie. What's not to love? Right. We should probably get the guest on, right?
Are we preparing for like one last Eric intro?
Here we go. My intro's bloody legendary now. I tell you, there's no stopping me now. But let's see what I
There's
can
not. There's not. There's no stopping, no pleading.
do. Wow. I'm very proud of my intros. I won't lie to you.
There's something else, and it's really good because I do get a moment to just completely meditate for a while until it comes back.
There's something else. Okay. All right.
Because everybody watch me glaze over for a second.
Angus has just noticed the background. Is that your background or my background, Angus, that you've just noticed? I'll let you talk about it. While I talk about our guest today. Okay, here we go. Our guest this week is a seasoned traveller who has journeyed to more than 30 countries, capturing the essence of each place with his camera. From the bustling streets of Europe, where he got his first real camera, to the serene landscapes of distant lands. His photographs have not only taken us to his adventures, but have brought us along as well. His expertise doesn't stop at travel photography. He's a master of portraits, architecture, and event photography. But there's more. He's diving deep into the digital realm, mastering the art of Photoshop and even venturing into graphic design. And for those of you, here we go, for those of you in Mainz or Wiesbaden area of Germany, you might have had the privilege of attending one of his workshops. But what truly sets him apart is his role as an Adobe community expert. These are the cream of the crop, individuals who are not just skilled with Adobe products, but are passionate about sharing their knowledge, fostering creativity, and solving problems. They're the guiding lights in the Adobe community, and our guest is truly one of them, representing a global community of 400 experts from over 45 countries. So, without further ado, let's see what's what with today's special guest. Hey, it's Shawn Kosel.
Yay!
Hello, my friend.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Really,
Oh,
it's really good to see you for a
it
number of
really
reasons.
is. It really
First
is.
of all, because you're a nice bloke and we like chatting with you, as has become evident over the last few weeks, where we've gone for some tech help and then spent the next 3 hours just yapping. It's nice to see you in that regard. But also, this is not the first time we've tried to have you on this show. So it's great that we've actually got you here and we can see you. So welcome along front and centre where you truly belong. So, Shawn, we were in the intro there. We spoke about so much of what you do, but what it takes up the bulk of your time? Would you say?
Oh, okay. I can talk now.
Wow!
That is
Sometimes you can get too familiar. That's yeah. Go on then.
no. That's the longest that I've not said a word while streaming ever.
That probably is true.
Oh, very
Well,
true.
welcome to my
That's amazing.
company.
Yes. No, the majority of my time is actually the streaming that I'm doing. People in chat, hello everyone. It's wonderful to see you. And for those of you in chat, today is this stream is my third stream for today. Coming up with content is tough. It's tough. So that takes a great deal of time and just thinking about what it is I want to do.
This is one of the things, isn't it, about making tutorials and making online content, is there's more to it than sitting in front of the camera and saying, this is how you do it, or this is what you do. There's all that prep time. So let's say, I know you've done absolutely zero prep for this, and why would you? But let's take one of your live streams when you were talking about your photographs. How long would you prep for that? Do you have a written plan, or is it planned in your head? What's your process?
Zero planning.
like it.
When it comes to, let's say, photography or Photoshop, I will dive right in. Now, go back 2 years ago, and I would practice. I would have an idea of a project, and I would try to make it look as professional as possible. But I realized that the people enjoy the mistakes
Hmm.
and the
Mm.
fumbles and the real life struggles that you have. So, coming up with a plan now, I will sketch something out. I will try to figure out what it is I want to do, but I will not practice it.
Hmm.
When I'm working on something, and it doesn't matter what app it is, when I'm start working on it and I'm live, I know
Mm.
that people are going to have the same struggles, the same problems, possibly make the same mistakes that I do. And so it's one of those things, like, I'm not a polished pro that's sitting here and I've worked this out and I've got it down. And, when I was on Adobe Live, I was told that you have this amount of time,
Mm.
practice it 3 or 4 times, time it, make sure you can get everything in. And by the time I went live, it was stale.
Yeah.
Um, so honestly, anymore, tangent town, Evie says, absolutely. And those
Yeah.
are
Mhm.
those are the best times when
But
I'm
but this is the difference, isn't it? You're not sitting there saying this is how you do this. This is A to Z. You are. I don't know what the role is, but you are head of a community, right? You are leading a community in your journey. Would you say?
yes. Now, I would not say I'm the head or that I lead the community. In reality, they allowed me into their community.
Hmm.
We were all one from Adobe Live UK, Adobe Live German, Adobe Live US during lockdown, just watching and getting to know each other in chat. So that community was already made. Now, all I did is I gave them a place to hang out. So when I started streaming, yes, I was like, hold on. I These are not the right glasses, but I'm like, hello, my name is Shawn Kosel. Today we're going to be I can't even see with these things on. So I tried to be so polished and a pro, and it wasn't good.
Hmm.
It just so the idea of allowing the community to take the journey that I have, and I call it, it's my journey of learning the apps,
Okay.
and that's kind of what I stream about. I'm not the best, and I'm the first one to say it. If I'm coming out, let it be as a photographer, as an editor in After Effects, Illustrator. I'm not the best, and chat knows that they can give me advice,
Yeah. Yeah.
they can direct me, and I'm going to take it.
Hmm.
So, the term community is is so perfect for what it is that I do.
For me, and I think from I'm not as regular as I would like to be in your streams. I come clean on that. But for me, quite often, you are company for me. You and the chat are company for me while I'm working. So I'm not, oh my gosh, what is he doing next? But I will be glancing over. Oh, that's interesting. That's good. I like that. No need for the 3D. Oh, that's nice. That sort of thing. So it. Do you think that's do you think that's where you fit in? Sort of it's certainly during COVID, I would imagine.
Yes, absolutely. The We're lurking, as what it's been called, and I can't remember who came up with it, but it's
I want to
working,
say that was
and
Angus.
it was
I could be
either
I could be wrong. Angus Mackenzie's definitely said we're lurking a few times.
yes,
Yeah.
it might have been Stuart, but we're all, we go way back. So that's with Stuart and Angus. That's perfectly fine. Whoever wants to take credit for it, but the We're lurking, moving the mouse, as Stuart says. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm in the background, and something will catch. You'll hear something, and then you're like, "What? What did he just say?"
Mhm.
Something like that. So I am perfectly fine of being background.
It's nice to
And
have your company. I won't lie. It's nice to have your company.
I
when you're
I,
working.
I think because Evie in the comments said she never goes to see the serious streams, and I agree. I think there was one of your streams a few weeks back. I think when we first announced that we were going to have you on the show, you showed up a list of the people who we'd interviewed, and you were far too humble, and you said like, "Oh, I don't know why I'm here. I don't belong there."
Yeah.
And I think that's absolute nonsense because I've got to say, right, your streams. I completely agree with what Evie's saying. I listen to not just because I like you now. I've been on your streams for a while. Every now and then, I kind of pop in. And yours are the ones I will listen to because they're much more entertaining. And I love the way you do engage the chat and how much of a kind of fun, welcoming atmosphere it is. So there you go.
For those that are joining us and maybe don't really know what we're talking about, you are I'm going to say prolific streamer. I mean, you've already said this is your third of the day. How many days a week do you stream on average?
Since
8?
March, well, four streams on the Firefly Discord, and then 2 for myself.
Well, no,
and then, of
Shawn, I
course-
think you're doing yourself a disservice. I know that you started a stream on the Firefly Discord at least 25 times last night because I got the notifications of them. That is not Shawn's fault. I want to make that absolutely clear. That is not Shawn. That is Discord that's doing that to you. So it's not fair.
I apologize to everybody who is on the Firefly Discord. Don't hate me.
No, but sorry, I interrupted you. So you're doing 4 for the Firefly Discord. Yep.
And then I stream twice, usually on average twice a week. And then the funny thing is, if I get frustrated or if I'm upset, I couldn't get something to work, I'll stream like on a Friday just to prove to myself that I can do this. Like
Right.
I can make this work. So
the thing about your community as well is that it is a community of incredibly talented people. And so throwing it out to that community is often quite helpful. And I've seen a lot of questions and a lot of ideas be put in your chat. So that's nice in itself. But the point I wanted to make here is that you have been going a long time, like you say, with these live streams, and you have built up this community. But it is a welcoming community. So if there is somebody here watching this that hasn't joined Shawn's community, I strongly recommend it. It's very welcoming, and there are some in jokes, but you soon get the hang of them, I think, or ignore them. Do whatever you like. But it's inclusive. It's an inclusive group. So you mentioned right back when we were talking about doing Adobe Max, and you're up for the next one, right?
yeah, I'm going to be actually TAing, so teacher assistant. I'm going to be doing, I don't even know how many sessions, but I'm going to be assisting us on the sessions. So that's going to be my first Max. So I'm excited for that. That's going to be. I am not looking forward. The trip. I am flying from Frankfurt to Portland. I'm visiting my parents for a number of days,
Nice.
and then I'm flying to LA. And that is just a tough flight to go from the West Coast, to Frankfurt, Germany. So
Where did I hear this? Time flies except when you're flying. Who said that? Somebody said that recently. Was that on one of our streams, or have I heard that elsewhere?
Yeah, no. I heard it must be. I think it was Aaron last week.
Yes.
Aaron Stern last week.
Yes, of course it was. Yes.
Yeah, that's familiar.
Yeah. Yes.
We pay attention. We know
There we
what we're
go.
doing.
I listen sometimes. Fade in and out.
That was just before you mentioned TipSquirrel.
I didn't last week. I made a point
I
of not
know.
mentioning tipsquirrel.com.
I know.
That's tipsquirrel, 2Rs.com. Yeah, so flying is tricky, but you're a well-travelled man. Like I say in the introduction, visited a lot of countries, right? And do you have any
Yes.
particular favorites?
Oh, that's so okay. That I'm always asked that, and the problem is I have different cities, different countries, even for that matter, for different reasons that are my favorite. It's I break it down to like, which is your favorite castle, which is your favorite church, which is your
Right.
cathedral, and so everything is broken down. Like, um, for example, my wife and I, we were just chatting about this, and we were so amazed in Iceland. I'm sorry, everybody, talking about Iceland. You're sick of it, I know, in chat. But we were talking about it, and we met a couple, and they're like, "Oh, it's not as good as, let's say, the United States, the Rocky Mountains. Oh, those are better." And I'm sitting there, and we're talking about it. We're over dinner, and we never say that.
Mm.
Like, we understand, like, Ireland, how gorgeous Ireland is.
Mm.
And I love the Scotland Highlands. Absolutely love it. Angus, that's for you, buddy. And um, but I never compare them because they're different. One doesn't have to be better than the other.
Hmm.
You can say, the lush green rolling hills of Ireland, how gorgeous they are, with the sheep scattered through it. And then in the Highlands, you've got the rough rockiness. You can feel, that it's tough.
Mhm.
Um, and it's so there's no reason to say this is my favorite.
So let me rephrase the question then. Where did you feel most
Okay.
at home?
Um,
Blimey. Hello?
I no.
I've just
Wow.
had Shawn
No.
Kosel.
Yeah,
What?
I know.
you did.
How did that happen?
I'm thinking
I
it's
just assumed you
easier
were
to say.
buffering.
It's
I've got to
easier
say,
for
I
me
don't
to.
think I've seen you. I've seen you stumble over a question before, Shawn. I've watched you on and off for hours.
See, this
Yeah,
is I asked that question because I've been lucky enough to visit a few places, not as many as yourself, but Sweden, I thought, oh man, this is like home. I felt like this is where I belong. And then I visited Iceland and I went, actually, this is Sweden plus. I feel really at home here. And obviously, it's never the same when you actually live somewhere, or you have to go to work somewhere. That's the thing, isn't it? But and I know you went to Iceland too. Did you feel comfortable and home in Iceland?
Oh, absolutely. The worst. Okay, I'm just. Iceland to me was the pinnacle of my travels. That was my bucket list. This is literally the last place I want to go on my bucket list. I've been every place else. So for me, it was such an honor. I was so excited to actually get there. And then I see how other tourists act. They were chasing sheep to get selfies.
No,
Um,
no.
it was I yelled at tourists. I felt as if they didn't respect where they were. And it was like, ugh. So to answer your question, Eric, I am at home when my wife and I are literally any place in the world alone. Um,
Oh,
not I've traveled with
Feels
her
like a bit of a
for her
cop out, David.
business.
That one, didn't it?
I did.
That,
It
that
feels like
felt
she's
like a dig
listening.
for brownie
You know,
points.
I think Shawn's done something. He
Oh
forgot to
yeah.
do
Look what
something. He
I
forgot a
said, dear.
birthday, and he's now like, no,
Yeah.
it's my wife. That's the special thing.
Welcome to
She
my friendship, Shawn.
out of 270 streams, my wife has seen one.
Mhm.
So this won't get back to her,
No,
unless
I
one of the
understand the
UK
sentiment.
peeps.
It's nice.
Well, just
Uh,
get hi, Mrs. Shawn.
Do you,
oh,
do you travel a lot together? Is
yeah,
that your
yes,
thing? Is that your couple thing?
Absolutely, absolutely. We used to travel before COVID. We used to have one big trip a month. Um, I can't even tell you how many cities, oh, 37 countries, that's fine. But we always go back to multiple times to different cities and just keep traveling and discovering different places. Now, I went to Italy. She was working and we were traveling together, but during the day I went out and did exploring on my own and photography. It wasn't enjoyable. It's your friend's not there,
Hmm.
So for us to go and get lost off the beaten path and just be by ourselves away from tourist sites, that's where we are most comfortable.
Hmm. I
We can
fully
we've
appreciate that.
I have there's stories I could tell you about like being in Crete, Greece, and places that we drove this little Fiat Panda. We called it Poe. We
Of
named
course.
our car Poe after Kung Fu Panda. And
I was thinking
we
Teletubbies.
drove
I'm showing my age.
I,
Sorry, Sean. Go on.
I understood the reference, Sean. You carry on.
okay.
Sorry, Sean.
And we drove that thing into areas and mountains it never should have gone. Um, just getting off the beaten path and just exploring. That's the favorite thing to do. And that's how come a lot of the photos that I have that I taken, the ones that I appreciate that I'm happy about, really don't have anybody in them.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
I totally understand that. I don't know if that's maybe a photography thing, a photographer's thing, is that you look where all the crowds are and where they're looking, and you go, then I'll be over there. Uh, I'll
yep.
leave them to it. There's a lovely place not far away from us, the Black Country Museum, and we went there with some friends, and they were going, "Now, where's it going?" And I was like, down little alleyways and ducking under fences. You can have your bit. That's fine. I want to see what you can't see.
Did you just get lost, though, Eric? Because you and I have walked around trying to find places before.
That reference is when David and I met for an Adobe event, and we met early and thought we'd just wander up to the event. We'll stop somewhere, have something to eat. Afterwards, I got the Google Maps of our journey, and it went like this. It was like a toddler had tried to draw a spider's web. We had gone all over the place.
It was dreadful.
It really was. It was embarrassing. Glad I mentioned it. But we were just too busy yakking, I think. And lucky for us, the good old Angus helped us get back to the train station afterwards, because we thought we were miles away. We were like, so far back to the train station. It's just literally just down the road. What are you talking about? So thank you for that, Angus. Good. So I first discovered you when you were talking about photographing motorbikes. Obviously, that's an interest of mine. Is that something that you do regularly, or do you flip from subject to subject? You don't have something. Obviously, pigeons you like to photograph. I've seen lots of photographs of those. But
Hummingbird.
is there is there is there something you go, I am a photographer of this?
I used to be. Now, I have progressed, to be honest. So travel photography, that was my big thing. And then 5 years ago, when I came back to Germany, I joined a studio and became a portrait photographer and actually really enjoyed it. Now, within the village that I live in, the region is called Rheingau, and there is an event called the Magic Bike. And I believe it's Europe's largest motorcycle rally. And on the Sunday, they do a parade that travels through the region, and it passes right in front of my house. So that is really getting into that type of photography when it comes to motorcycles. Nothing, I tried it once, to be honest. Nothing like what you do, Eric. Yours are stunning. I love them.
Thank you.
Um, my brother-in-law was customizing a motorcycle, and kind of building his own from the ground up. And he's a sheet metal worker. I was a sheet metal worker also for 15 years. And so he was doing all of his own sheet metal work and building everything on it himself. And so it was at a position in which it was time to get some photos. It did not turn out well. I mean, they're okay, but not how I like it. So
Okay.
yeah.
When you were doing the portrait photography, was this were you open to putting your own interpretation on this, or was it you have to do this pose, this pose, this pose? Was that sort of?
Okay, so here in Germany, first off, you have to have a business portrait on your resume. So the studio we had to begin with, as having just a stream of people all day, we would be doing passport photos and business portraits. And then I started venturing into other type of portraits and getting into everything else. And I was kind of known as the American photographer. And Germans had a different style of what they're thinking when it comes to their portraits. And then people would come in and say, I want an American style business portrait. I want the American to shoot me. Um, well, photograph.
We'll skip over.
Yeah.
I'm actually giving myself a little pat on the back for letting that one go. So
I heard somebody the little sniff there.
It wasn't me. I was very proud of myself. Let's carry on. Sean. Yeah. So they wanted the American to photograph them. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was I was doing a lot of portraits, and kind of that was my big thing. So I was traveling doing portraits, and even I started doing kind of environmental portraits when I was traveling.
Okay.
People would see my camera. Yeah.
Let's back up a second. So we've gone from business portraits to environmental portraits.
Yeah.
Can you explain what the difference is? What are they, and what you might do?
A environmental portrait. Now, it could be something as simple as taking a photo of a person in an easy chair reading, um, something that they like to do. So it's in their environment, wherever it is they feel most comfortable. So if I wouldn't set these up per se, it would be more along the lines of they would see me, we would start a conversation, and I'd say, "Can I take your portrait?" It just happened again on this Iceland trip, and I absolutely love this. Went into the only mushroom farmer in Iceland, went into their restaurant, had an amazing lunch, started chatting with the owner, and I got a now I got a free bowl of soup. So for that free bowl of soup, I told her that I was going to help her with her business, did a portrait shoot, and it was only like 5 photos, and also help her with Adobe Express. We were chatting, and she says, "Oh my gosh, I need to learn Photoshop, and I need to learn Illustrator so I can promote my business better on social media." I'm like, "Have you heard of Express?"
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "No, what's that?" And I go, "That's what it's for." So I've been in contact with her, um, and she was nice enough to actually take me into her mushroom farm. And I was like, "There's guys working in the background. They're on lifts. They've got all the mushrooms." And we did a quick portrait, walked out, and she like grabbed a mushroom out of the bin, popped or out of the dirt, popped the stem off, ate it. I mean, she was just so cool. So doing things like that is really enjoyable for me when I'm meeting new people, because a lot of my travels, some of my favorite stories aren't about where I was. It was about the person I met, the people I met, the people that I befriended on this trip. Some of those are my favorite stories to tell.
Nice. Okay.
I think the question that we all have off the back of that, but I'm going to guess from everybody in the chat as well, what kind of soup was it?
I'm going to guess mushroom.
It was so okay. I walked in and it was like, oh, it smells amazing in here. Then this restaurant had a buffet and everything on it was mushrooms.
Oh,
And
oh god,
why is that bad?
I don't like mushrooms personally. No.
Oh,
no, sorry. No, I did not mean to distract. That was a slip. Sorry.
okay. David, you go ahead and tune out. When I'm done talking about mushrooms, I'll go like this. So she came over, wife and I, we ordered drinks, we ordered our food, and I asked the waitress who ended up, I found out was the owner, and I said, so I think I'm making a mistake ordering this. Like, I think I should get the buffet, but this is what I'm going to order. And she's like, I'll tell you what, go get whatever you want off the buffet and I'll bring you this. And then you tell me what you think. So I didn't. I am not going to take advantage of anybody, but I had to try the soup. So all I had was a single bowl of soup and it was great. Mushroom soup can be very blah and tasteless. My mouth is watering. It's dinner time. So it was great.
Okay, so that's environmental shoots. The other one I asked you about was professional portraits. So what are they like, and how does it change from a US photographer to a German photographer?
I was going to ask that too, actually. I was curious what the difference between the US and German profile shots were like.
So let me see. The best way to tell this story, a young woman came into the studio and she's like, I saw this photo online and nobody will do it. This is what I want. She handed me this photo. And it is a portrait, like 3/4 body of her in a suit, very powerful looking, with her arms crossed, and the photo was in landscape.
Okay.
Oh.
And of course she is not centered. She's over in the third.
Mhm.
And with the gradient, with everything that was done to the photo, I was like, yeah, this is just a normal shoot. This isn't anything special.
Sounds like a stock photograph when you explained it there.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell you what, it was at that moment that I realized the differences between the German photographers that were doing this and then what is kind of in my mind as being standard. So that after that shoot, that's when I became the American photographer.
That's cool. So you were given a bit of free reign and you could put your own stamp on it.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
That was really interesting. And I know I talked about this before on some of my streams, but when you go into a situation and you don't speak the language, you don't have the technical language to pose somebody, you really have to figure out what you are doing. Now, a lot of the times these people come in and I'm speaking English to them. They don't speak a word of English. They get like scared. Their shoulders start getting tight and now they're freaked out. And that's the last thing that you want to take a photo of. So being able to really calm them down, set them at ease, and then pose them and cracking jokes that they understand was a big thing. And it's as simple as doing mirroring. So if you mirror somebody, you go and what I do is I act like I've got hold of their head. So I'm like, tilt your head this way, move your chin this way. And so, drop your nose. And so it's like I'm controlling their head and I'm doing the same thing. And it's amazing how many people just respond to that very easy. So,
okay. So what took you to Germany, Shawn?
My wife's work.
Okay. So your wife isn't German? She
No.
moved to Germany.
Well,
Okay.
actually, she is. She's 100% German, but she's an American. We've met all of her family, both sides of her family. Uh, we've traveled all over Germany meeting family, distance relatives, and it's been wonderful.
How long have you been in Germany?
Uh, 10 out of the last 12 years.
Blimey. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So you must be able to speak the language a little bit now, at least.
I
Two.
I had a
Two times I've
choice.
done it now.
I've had
I'm going for the
you could
hat-trick.
keep track. I had a choice. It was either A, learn Adobe products, or B, learn the German language. I I went with the Adobe products. Now the funny thing is, this I was offered a job with Adobe here in Germany, and going through the process, everything was great. And I said, you know, is it an issue I don't speak German? Needless to say, I didn't get that job. Yeah, so that was a problem.
They've only got
Okay.
a small. There's only a small amount of words actually in German, isn't there? And then they're doubled up. So I think gloves are hand shoes and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, Angus has just pointed out that you're still learning English in some ways, so it's.
Wow.
Well, I mean, no, it's just bauble with just the.
So we know that you.
I'm so sorry.
Photoshop,
No, you're not.
Photoshop and Express are, of course, and Firefly we see predominantly on your streams. What other products do you like to use?
Oh, probably my favorite is Character Animator. I'm not good at it. It's just so much fun.
Yeah.
So I will do anything. I will open up. I love After Effects. I'm not good with it, but I love it. Illustrator is I I know enough to be dangerous, then I get frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
So Illustrator gets me.
Is that
but
because
again,
you've got
I
your
love it.
Photoshop brain, though? Are you trying to use Illustrator like Photoshop?
I do. I'm working in layers. Like I'll have the layer panel open and I'm constantly working in the layers in Illustrator. And, people are like, why do you do that? And it's this is how my brain works.
I totally understand. I had to phone up our friend Tony Harmer the other day because I was trying to put stroke around something in Illustrator and I could not figure it out. It was driving me round the twist. I said, why is there not just a stroke like in Photoshop? Why is that nothing? No, it's got to be an offset path.
Do you know what? The extra fun thing to this story is that Eric called me first for technical support, and it was the first time Eric has ever called me for a technical support question.
For any help of any kind.
For any help of anything. and then I had to say, I don't use Illustrator.
I was gutted. I was like, David, finally, the day has come. I need your help. Good know me. But yeah, offset path apparently is the answer to that. So there we go.
Yeah. Now, okay, Stuart has got a question for me, and I don't know the answer to it. So this is the hat trick.
You can take the man out of his own stream,
but he can't not watch the chat. It's how he does it.
Built in now. Isn't it?
Well, don't. I'm watching you over here. I'm watching chat over here, and I'm looking at puffins here in front of me.
Of course you are.
Pigeons, Sean. I should explain this, but if there's somebody who hasn't seen Shawn's stream, he's been talking a lot about puffins, and a few of us in the chat some of them are here tonight, I noticed. We started a joke between they were just pigeons, they're like Arctic pigeons, and then hummingbirds, and so if there's been any pigeons or hummingbirds or anything like that, it's all because we've been teasing Shawn about puffins.
Deservably so, though. That's for sure.
No.
Okay, so Stuart is asking a question, and the funny thing is, this isn't a question for me, Stuart. Stuart is asking, "What is your most memorable stream?" For me, we have had some that we're laughing so much that nothing gets done. First off, that's 90% of my streams, Stuart. So that's the first thing.
Nice.
Next, the question is actually, what is your most memorable stream? Because for me, I hate to say it, it's one of those things like I stream, something funny will happen. I'll tell my wife about it that night, and then I'm moving on to the next stream. You know, it's I don't know.
I did very quickly. Sorry, Shawn.
Yeah.
I did bring up your pictures there from Iceland because there were a couple of pigeon pictures down the bottom there. So there we go. Look at that. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely.
They are. Some of those are absolutely stunning, by the way. There's some of them really nice.
This guy, this is probably my favorite. And I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat this because there's, I don't know if you've heard this, but I was blocking this puffins. See, I almost said pigeon.
Nah.
Oh, David. I was blocking this puffins only when they fly. This puffin's burrow, I was blocking it to allow it to feed its puffling. So it was doing all of these strange motions with its head, its wings, and I'm sitting there and I'm taking tons of photos of it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is so great. This is so great." Then it dawned on me like, "Oh, I'm a jerk. I'm blocking this bird from being able to feed its baby." Oh. So I moved, and sure enough, the puffin just started hopping up and popped into the burrow and was gone. So, yeah, it's very interesting.
It's certainly something we've got to be mindful of when it's with wildlife. You've got to understand the wildlife and what they're doing and why they're doing it. It's sometimes very difficult, isn't it?
It is, because you're so excited. I'll make this a short story. It could be longer, but I kept hearing all these goodbye to the puffins. The puffins are leaving. The puffins are gone. This is, I was so scared that the puffins were going to be gone that I was expecting that I was only going to see like 5 or 6 puffins. I thought I'm going to get the old, maybe stupid or slow puffins that forgot to leave. And so I didn't even take my gear when I first showed up. And I walked over this edge and came down, and there's like thousand puffins.
Nice.
And I was like, oh. And I told my wife, I'm like, I'm going to go get my gear. And I ran back up the hill, got to the car, got my gear, came back. So I was so excited. It took me maybe an hour to actually calm down and start photographing properly. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things that you need to be aware if you're going to be in the wildlife. And
have you always used Lightroom, Shawn?
I have Lightroom Classic. Probably, I don't know, 8, 9 years. And I made huge mistakes in the beginning. I never had a community. I never learned what you should do and what you shouldn't. I didn't have anybody I could even learn from. So when I first got into photography 10, 12 years ago, it was by reading magazines.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about anything. And one of the biggest things for me with getting into Adobe Live, the biggest slap in the face was, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And it was one of those things like I thought I'm good at Photoshop. Oh my God, I didn't know anything about Photoshop. Um, Lightroom, I was I I was good at it, but I made a lot of mistakes. But now, because of my workflow, I have not, and I said this yesterday's stream, Lightroom and Lightroom on the web, they each have their own function. So those are tools in my toolbox that I do use, I can use, but for those specific functions. 99.9% of my photos always start in Lightroom Classic. And then I'll take it into wherever it needs to go.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Again, we're having this discussion with Dave Cross when he was on, a big advocate of Adobe Bridge. So we were talking the difference between Bridge and Lightroom, how you can use the two. And I'm a big Bridge advocate, but then I don't take hundreds of photographs. If I'm photographing a motorbike, it's maybe 30 for the main picture, and then 50 or some more. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. Rude.
Oh, Eric.
I know. Something had to go wrong. I've probably just turned down some work right there. No, but so Lightroom isn't something that I very often go into, but I perhaps only use Lightroom because I can do tethered shooting in it.
Yeah.
If I could do tethered shooting into Bridge, then I probably wouldn't open Lightroom at all, strangely enough. But do you ever shoot tethered? Is that something that you're...
Oh, yeah.
Bloody thing. They've left a bloody voicemail now. How dare they?
I think play it.
How dare
I think
they?
play it on if they clearly want to be on the stream, I think you play the message.
I bet you it's Angus.
Like I'd give Angus my telephone number.
Oh. Now, okay, first off, Bridge that's a sore subject on my streams. There's people in the community that absolutely love Bridge, and I understand it. I understand the power of it. It's just not part of my workflow.
That was so diplomatic. It's like there's people like it, and I understand that.
Because look, I installed Bridge on that Mac. I opened it up, and I went, huh, and I closed it and never opened it again. I know, and I tell you, I fight with people, and Bridge users are like, I'm gonna teach you how to use Bridge. 5 minutes with me, and you're gonna love Bridge, and this and that. And people are very vicious about it. And I'm like, okay, so why is it that Bridge users are like, they treat you as if they're the old married couple that shows up at the wedding to the newlyweds and are like, when are you going to have kids? You should have kids right away. Kids are easy. Have kids. Kids are great. Make sure to have kids. Oh, you don't want a honey. You don't need that newlywed feeling. Have kids. Have kids. That's how it feels when people from that are really pushing Bridge. It's like, no, I got Lightroom. I'm happy.
Okay.
I haven't used Bridge since I had a Mac. I used to use it beforehand when I had a PC, but I've not touched it since literally as soon as I had Finder. That was it.
It all depends how many photographs you take in or how many pieces of media you take in. That's the first thing, and the second is what are you taking? So with my work outside of photography,
I think medication.
That's what the bell was. Time to take another pill.
I'll be doing PDFs, videos, PSDs, the whole gamut of things, and Bridge can handle it. So that's the only reason why I spend most of my time in Bridge.
You said the exact right thing when you first started talking about it, is you said media. Like if I'm using media, let it be if I was doing photography and illustrations and PDFs and I had a spectrum of media. That is where Bridge is the beast.
Yeah.
Bridge works the best. I don't do that. So I am just dealing with photography, with photos. And so that's where it is. And as soon as somebody says they have multiple different media, I'm like, Bridge is the way to go.
Yeah. I don't like the way Bridge Lightroom whines at me if I move a file either. It's my file. I'll move it if I want to move it. How dare you? Oh, you moved it. I don't know where it is now. Put it back where it was. Bridge is just nice and dopey. Just going, oh, don't know. Whatever's in there's in there, isn't it? And I like that. You know, they have different characters. Different characters.
I wish they had those voices.
Evie says that she doesn't use Bridge either. You know what? We should spend some time together. You'll definitely use Bridge then. You should have. Yeah, Oliver agrees that that's what he uses for all the things that aren't in Lightroom. Good. Yeah, stop moving files outside of Lightroom. I'll use bloody move files wherever I want to. Lightroom can't stop me.
Well, you think that's an explanation point where when you move a file?
No, I think it's
you know what?
Rigid.
No, it's just one finger.
You know, it's going. You know, going back to a previous conversation about my experience last Friday when I was working in a school that I'd never worked in before. Lightroom is like that. It's like, sir, I can't find that file, sir. And it's like, it's just there. I can see it, sir. That's how it feels to me. That I'm just saying. But I appreciate why people like Lightroom. And, you know, the great thing about Lightroom is that you can make your catalog and then literally take the drive and put it away somewhere nice and safe, and you still know where they are. And I do appreciate that because it is a database. I do appreciate that. But I don't have that amount of photographs. So, yeah. Good. Right. So what's next for Shawn Kosel?
Max. That's the big focus. Being a teacher assistant, I don't know if people know this. I didn't know this even when I kind of volunteered for it. Is as an assistant, whatever sessions that I'm assisting, I actually have to learn the material. The presenters have to send me the material. I have to learn it. I have to be able to know it backwards and forwards. That way I can answer questions within the audience without disturbing the presenter.
Right, sure.
So as of right now, I'm waiting for that to show up. And I don't know how many sessions I'm doing, what I'm going to have to learn. And here is my fear. Now, you know what? I'm going to say this. It's being recorded. It's fine. I am okay with many apps. People know what I do streaming. They know the apps that I work in streaming. And my fear is that when the people are actually, Bridge, I'm scared Bridge is going to be one. That they're going to wait and put me at the very bottom and give me, okay, nobody wants to do
Dreamweaver.
Yes. They're going to give me like all of that. And InDesign, yes. InDesign's the other one. You're right, Stuart. I'm going to go, oh no, I have to learn InDesign inside and out in, 2 weeks. So, because Max is right around the corner.
It's not far away.
So,
it's all, is it? So that's your focus. And then back to streaming after that and back to what you do?
I've got a few portrait gigs that are going to be coming up this fall. Actually, right when I get back from Max, that's going to start up.
That's
people
autumn
really
for people to speak English, right? Just for our non-foreign viewers, just translating for
I was making a autumn. I was making a autumn design last week, and I was like, "How do you spell autumn?"
The traditional English way is terrible.
Yeah. So I just figured, like all of the King's English, you add just U's. Just keep putting U's in there.
True.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I'm not going to defend that.
No. I have noticed that a lot of the shops sell yogurt in the American spelling now, which I'm I'm not keen about. I can't tell you.
the,
I can't. No, don't ask me what the English spelling is of yogurt or what the American spelling is of yogurt. But I know they're different. And when I see it, I go, "That's not."
YOGHURT. Yogurt.
Hmm.
That's how it should be.
so it has extra U's.
There are 2 U's of silent.
Yeah. There's so many more. When Spark first came out, Adobe said, "Could you do something for us using Spark to put to demonstrate it, whatever?" So I did actually do a little presentation type thing where it was American to English, and it did really well. But there was quite a few in there, like biscuit and cookies and chips and all that kind of stuff. Have you found that that's been tricky going to Germany? Are they more English speaking than American English speaking?
Okay, yes, because they are taught the English.
Real English. Yep.
True. I'll give you that.
At the side note, the first time I saw, I think it was an Adobe app. The first time I saw, you had to select your language, and it was international English.
Yeah.
And I was like,
no, how very dare you? How very dare you? Yeah.
So,
sorry, Shawn, you carry on.
I will. In the studio, we had this really old Italian coffee maker. Beautiful stainless steel thing, was a beast. So it started leaking water. So the owner of the studio, I got him and he's checking everything out. And he's like, oh no. Get me a torch. And I'm thinking, okay, so the piping, now this is me as a construction worker. I'm like, the piping is probably loose, or maybe it's a rubber hose and you can end up taking it down, heating it up, getting a solid fit. Okay. So I went out and I'm looking and I'm like, where's your lighter? I'm trying to find your lighter. And I bring it back to him and he's like, what is this? I'm like, well, it's not a torch, but it's fire. So I had no idea that torch was flashlight. So yeah, every now and then, but mainly it is the UK people.
I'm giggling because we've had a conversation similar to this a few weeks ago when you used an Americanism, and David and I were a big gobsmacked.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
What did he say?
was that live?
No, it wasn't. Thank goodness.
Yes, it was.
It was totally. Was it?
No, I think it was, because
Yes.
that's why I was laughing so much, because I was giggling to myself, but then Shawn realized something was up because
That's right. I stopped it just after. If you're looking for that recording,
Yeah.
it is no longer on our streams. But so there is a Englishism that is used differently in the States, and Shawn said it, and we were like, really? And then of course the penny dropped. It was funny. It was nice. I enjoyed the moment. We're
all being cancelled. It's fine.
Yeah. Don't matter anymore, does it? That's one of the series.
Just to be clear to everybody in chat that they were canceled before I was on, so don't blame me.
Yes. Shawn, like we said before we brought you on, we started with an old friend and we're finishing with a new friend, and I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all the help you've given, but most of all for your friendship, because I have enjoyed every second. And I hope that I have technical problems in non-existent streams in the next few weeks, so as I got a reason to give you a shout. Why don't you come and chat for 3 hours? It'd be great.
Yeah.
So
don't call me about bridge.
Well, I think we should spend some time together with bridge, actually, Shawn, and then you'll know and you'll understand, and you should also have children. So come on. So No, we're getting silly again, but genuinely from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for your time, patience, and for coming back again, even though we've messed you around a bit. So thank you for that.
Yeah, 100%. I've got to say, it's when the stream went really well, when we had the night of technical problems and it just went wrong, one thing after another. I said to Eric afterwards, we were so lucky that happened the time you were on, because I couldn't imagine anybody else like dealing with it that nicely and that well. And I don't know whether we said this on the stream or not, because I've lost track now. But for the people in chat, Shawn was so nice, because when it was all going wrong, I looked and realized how much of his time we were taking up. And I actually said, I thought, okay, we're going to have to give him an out here, because it's not fair to keep him around when it's clearly all going like the house is on fire. And then Shawn like actually volunteered to stay around and help us out. And it was such a nice gesture. And we could not have asked for somebody better for it to all go wrong around. It was so nice.
I mean, to be fair, first off, David, we've talked about this before, where it feels like we know each other by just seeing each other's streams.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that we got to actually chat personally, face to face. And Eric, not knowing you, and
it's easier than knowing you. Sorry.
You're not quite sick of me yet, so that's good, because we didn't know each other previously. It was good.
It's getting there. It's building. Just wait for
it. I'm used to it.
Yeah, but your personality on the streams was so great that it was just kind of like, okay, when I first started jumping in on the very first What's What, it was, okay, I know David, I respect him, I like him, everything.
You don't know him that well, then.
Well, it's building. Wait for it. So it was one of those things like, okay, I want to help David out. But then getting to know you on the streams, it was one of those things like, okay, I'm going to do whatever it needs to help both of you. And then when it actually happened and we could sit there and chat, and it was like 2-3 hours.
Yeah,
it was just... Yeah, it was great. It was absolutely...
It was really good fun.
It's strange to think that 8 episodes ago, I'd not spoken to you. And now I'm comfortable with you taking the mickey and me taking the mickey, and it's like old friends. And, that's a testament to your friendship.
Yeah, I genuinely... Yeah, it's funny how we do feel like we've known each other a lot longer. Like we feel like you're in like old friend category in my head now, and which is funny because we've only interacted like via text before, basically.
Right.
And so no, it's really nice.
Yeah,
indeed.
So hopefully it comes across that we actually like each other.
I like you, Shawn. Yeah. I mean, if I had to choose one, that's what I wanted. No, I love my Dave. I love him to bits, and it's nice. It's that we've said this from the very beginning, that it's nice that we've managed to hang out. Just me and David, we hang out for a couple of hours every week. It's been nice, and then we get the pleasure of talking to somebody either we're new friends with or we've never met before, like last week with Aaron or Dave Cross, that I've been a fan of for so many years, and just to get to chat with him, it's been a lovely series. And thank you very much for helping us wrap it up in such nice style as well. It's been lovely. But thank
you for having me.
We are getting short of time, so unfortunately we do have to say ta-da for now. This definitely will not be the last time that I asked Shawn to come and chit chat with me in some respects, but I say no more than that. I think people can assume I would not be in my right mind if I didn't approach you for something. So it won't be the last time that we chat, I'm sure. But Shawn, for now, sir, thank you very much. It has been an absolute pleasure.
You are so welcome.
it. Last guest of the series, done and dusted.
Yeah.
Stay where you
There we
are,
go.
Shawn, because we'll come and say hello to you before we'll say a proper goodbye to you. That's it. That's series 1 done. As we said earlier on, next week we won't be here. We'll be doing something else because we are bringing this series to an end, and we might return at some point when we realise we miss each other. Oh, I want to see my Dave. My Dave. It's going to be amazing. But
Yeah. Well,
it has been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you, David.
It's been great. And I kind of want to say to everybody who's in the chat and stuff, please, because I can say it, it's not a kind of terrible form. If I think it's follow TipSquirrel. There's loads of good stuff that's coming on and coming out. And he's got, granted, I'm not there, but that's just because I'm lazy. There'll be lots of really good, interesting people like Shawn, and there's a whole. I'm not going to spoil anything and let Eric announce all those things when the time comes. But I think TipSquirrel has been long missed as far as I'm concerned, and it's going to be really good to see it back properly out there. So when you follow it and share it and smash that like button and all the other kind of online crap you need to do.
When we start doing these sort of things for TipSquirrel, I'm going to be calling on you and I'll be interviewing you for ever sake, going, lovely scribbles you've been doing.
Well, I know. I think that's how it really should work. I think I should be asked questions.
Yes. Well, you see, I thought you were here just to be pretty. I thought you were the eye candy, if I'm honest. But we could try and get some information out of you. That could be something.
and here's 20 minutes of David smiling.
Yeah. David, it's been a pleasure as always.
It's been fantastic.
Obviously, we'll chat, but maybe we won't record our chats, and then we can speak a bit more openly.
Yes, yeah.
It's been a joy. Thank you very much. No need for your catchphrase this week, but to everybody that's been in the chat room today and throughout the series, to all our guests, thank you very much for your time, your patience, and your good humour. It's been an absolute blast. But for now, see you whenever, I guess.
Yeah, see you whenever. See you next time. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
See you next time.
Bye-bye, everybody.
See you. Bye-bye. Thank you.